I just remember the first time I stood there, and they blew the smoke around with the walk-on girls, and it was like, I was like, wow. I had a guy from the bar running down to the vending machine, and I must have had about 10 of them. I didn't know what it was. Oh my God, I got up on the stage, and it's my first dart. My hand was going, I was like, what have I done here? And all of a sudden, I'm stood on the stage in the World Matchplay, this iconic venue, playing Phil Taylor, the greatest player ever, and I literally got on the stage, I had a look around, and I thought, I can't believe this is happening. Even all that I'd done, I thought I'd been watching him against Dennis Priestley, against Bristow, against all these great players, Mike Gregory. I'm on the stage with Phil Taylor in a final. That was a moment.
Welcome to this episode of Talk Tungsten. Pleased to introduce our guest today, a World Championship and World Matchplay runner-up and the current World Seniors record average holder, Mr. Mark Dudbridge. Hi Mark, how are we doing?
Hi Andrew, nice to be in your company.
How's that for an introduction?
Very good. Well, yeah, very good. I mean, you missed out a few things.
Tried to condense it.
I know.
So with all our guests, Mark, we like to take it right back. Can you tell us a little bit about growing up in Bristol and your childhood?
Yeah. Growing up in Bristol was a really, really good dart scene. Always has been in Bristol. My father played for the West of England years ago with Alan Evans, Leighton Rees. You know, very, very good top player.
Big names.
Yeah, and so I just naturally started going at 12, 13 years of age to leagues and Sunday leagues with my dad, and gradually started playing. And you know, my sister also was keen on darts. She ended up playing for the West of England and then playing for Devon County. Again, a very good player. So we had a darts household. So we were always on the board.
Yeah.
And that's how I started, really.
So it sounds like it was a family business and a natural thing to go.
Yeah, as a natural progression, I think. You know, it's just sort of. It's a bit of a shame, really, that my dad wasn't any good at golf, because it'd probably been a better lifestyle.
So, going back to obviously your dad, and I've read that he was a really capable player in his time. What age was it when you started getting competitive with your dad and started beating him, I guess?
Probably when I was getting up to sort of 14, 15. You know, I practiced a lot with my sister. We made it our point to learn our checkouts.
Yeah.
Straight away, so we'd learn 2 or 3 checkouts a day. You know, really sort of put the hours in on that, because counting is obviously very, very important. So it's when I started going into league teams and getting games, it was you're sort of ready.
Yeah. And these days, some of the checkouts and the counting now, they go some quite.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm a bit
now.
old school with, with stuff, and you watch the players again. You know, going to mention Luke Littler, his counting's ridiculous.
Yeah.
From 380, he's already thinking, I'm just thinking it a ton.
Yeah. And I've read that your hero in a darts context was Dennis Priestley.
Yeah.
Any particular reason, or was it just?
I just liked his demeanour. I just took to him, I guess, and obviously they say don't meet your heroes, but meeting him was one of the best moments, and I was lucky enough to play him a lot of times. But we used to go to Pontins down at Breen Sands, and I watched him as a kid, and I remember stood on a chair because I couldn't see his big crowd, only on boards on the floor, and he's gone 180, 60, 57, missed the 24. And in those days, there weren't many 9-darters. Everybody went sort of nuts. And I sort of took that in, and I thought, well, I need to watch him again. Just, watched him again the next match. Done the same again, missed double 12 for a 9-darter. And I've just hooked on him. And obviously, Bob Anderson as well, our local sort of, it's good. Got to know Bob very well, practiced with Bob. Yeah. Gentleman, great player. So, those two. And obviously, my dad. That was those were the ones.
Seems like a recurring theme, really. Then there was a working man sport, and lots of the big players then were really nice, humble people. So
cool. Dennis is, you couldn't meet a nicer fella, and and I was lucky enough to sort of towards the end of his career playing him quite a few times, and it was a great experience playing guys like that.
And then obviously more recently, and when you started making a name for yourself a little bit, it became Flash. How did that nickname come about? What's the origins of that?
I can't tell you the real story. But, yeah, no, I just thought, everybody had a nickname and a persona, and yeah, I just liked it, and I was a fan of the Flash Gordon films, the music, everything kind of worked. I always kind of had my hair highlighted years ago. We used to go on holiday with mates and put sun in, and it used to go ginger. But yeah, I always kind of had that about me, and it all kind of worked. So and I thought I'll sort that out before they call me the Brill Bristolian, because I didn't have anywhere to go with that really.
Okay. And obviously you still retain.
Yeah, it was funny. A friend of mine, he said, "Well, if you're going to be Flash, what if they call you a flash in a pan?" And the first headline, which was in like a national newspaper, was "He's no flash in a pan." So I nailed that one. That was good.
And then when the progression and you started getting better and taking some scalps, you always had the ambition to play on the PDC circuit, but obviously, of course, the 2002 Masters come around, and how did that come about then, with obviously not really...
Well, I qualified through the West of England, and I'd already decided to join the PDC circuit. And I said, well, we'll go up to Bridlington for a bit of practice. And yeah, I won it.
Decent practice session in the end.
So yeah, it was a good practice session. It was the first time on TV, and yeah, I had a decision to make then, because it was the first tournament of the calendar. I was number one in the BDO.
Yeah.
At that time, there wasn't a space in the MC for the World Master.
Yeah.
That could have taken me on a whole different path, but yeah, I stuck to my guns.
Well, you only need to look at some of the names you beat. Defending champion Barney knocked him out. Steve Beaton, and then Tony West in the final. Obviously, I think probably more recent darts fans probably more familiar with his brother Steve West, but both brilliant players in their day and still at the moment. I think I read somewhere that you were in a chip shop and it kind of started to sink in a little bit of what you'd actually achieved. What was that?
Yeah, we kind of walked out after winning it, with all the interviews and holding a big trophy, and it was all very exciting. And then sort of walked outside the venue at Bridlington, went into a chip shop, and me and my wife at the time kind of looked at each other and just kind of, what just happened there this weekend? Yeah. It was quite a whirlwind, and it's all started from there really.
Yeah, I've seen. I was looking through the archives and come across a photo of yourself and Trina, who obviously at that time was cleaning up.
Oh, she was winning everything. So
yeah, youthful photo of both of you. So that was cool. And then you obviously carried on with the plan, went over to the PDC. I'm assuming you probably took massive confidence then from that win, going over to the PDC and playing some of the
I didn't think about it at the time, but I suppose somebody who's won the World Masters. I'd already played in one PDC event in Kilmarnock before I went to the to Bridlington for the World Masters, and another lovely moment. It was obviously the guys that broke away, the 10 that broke away.
Yeah.
In those days, if you joined, which I think it was called the WDC in those days, you had a mentor, and my mentor was Cliff Lazarenko, and I think we were in Kilmarnock, I think I got to the quarterfinals, something, I had quite a good day, and Cliff was at the bar and he said, "Oh, come over, Mark." And I was like, "Fine, there's Cliff Lazarenko." And he said, "There's my mobile number. We're trying to improve the system. We're trying to do all we can for the players. If you've got any problems, if you've got any ideas to move this forward, there's my mobile number. Give me a call." And I was like, literally straight on the phone to me, Dan. I went, "I just spoke to Cliff Lazarenko. Give me his mobile number." Amazing. I was buzzing. I was really buzzing.
That's amazing. And did you find that because you'd won the Masters and I guess you'd become a bit of a bigger name, as you said, in front of the BBC cameras, was it a bit of a target on your back a bit more than it maybe would have been otherwise, or was it still? I'm
not sure. It probably helped me, who's this young kid who's just won the Masters out of the blue, and now he's into the PDC, and started winning and started beating a few of the big names, and just kind of just happened. I can't. There's no rhyme or reason. It just my trajectory just kept going up and up and up.
That's amazing. And I think, as you said, you started doing well pretty quickly. Obviously, the first World Championships you competed in 2004, got to the quarterfinals, knocked out John Part, who was the defending champion at the time, in the third round. So that must have been, again, a really cool experience and something that gave you a lot of confidence.
Yeah, you're playing these players on which the Circus Tavern at the time, well, it was obviously Lakeside and the Circus Tavern, which was our place. I just remember the first time I stood there, and they blew the smoke around with the walk-on girls, and it was like, I was like, wow, not so long ago I'm watching the guys on the TV, and all of a sudden I'm on the walk-on, and that's a moment that can make or break you. And I think I took it on board and took it in my stride, and I thought, this is for me. I was quite quietly confident in my ability. So yeah, it was wicked. Fond memories.
And the World Matchplay that year, also you got to the final there, running into Phil Taylor. At the time, said he was immense. He was cleaning up, winning everything, really hard to beat. Tell us a little bit about that tournament.
Yeah, well, obviously had a good run. Beat some great players. I think, memory serves me right, I think I beat Ronnie Baxter. It went right to the wire. And I ended up in the final against Phil, and it was one of those moments. Obviously, I'd been on TV in the Masters, in the World, been in the World Championships, I think, at that point. Then all of a sudden, I've stood on the stage in the World Matchplay, this iconic venue, playing Phil Taylor, the greatest player ever, and I literally got on the stage. I had a look around, and I thought, I can't believe this is happening. Even all that I'd done.
Yeah,
I thought I'd been watching him against Dennis Priestley, against Bristow, against all these great players, Mike Gregory. I'm on the stage with Phil Taylor in a final. That was a moment, and probably got a little bit caught in the headlights in that match.
It maybe stood you in good stead, I guess. Then, if we move on to the World Championships later on that year, the 2005 World Championships, we obviously got to the final again, running into Phil. That tournament, you beat John Part again. He's probably sick of the sight of you at this point.
Yeah. He reminds me quite a lot these days that I ruined part of his career.
But, I think that time, again, if you look at the final score, it looks more one-sided than it was, 7-4, I believe the overall score. But, at one point it was 3-3. And
yeah, I think I had opportunity. I had a dart at double top, I think, to go 3-1 up in sets on, just those little moments, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I think in the World Championships, the whole week, or over a week when we were there, it was, you don't sleep properly. I was still a bit of a rookie at that time. Fatigue played a part in the end, definitely.
And I think reading some of those stories about some of those games for you, and it sounds like you were actually relished the opportunity to play Phil, whereas it appeared like a lot of players would be happy to be the opposite side of the draw. They'd almost lose before they played him, whereas with you, it was kind of...
Yeah, no, I wanted to play against the best. And I remember we played in Las Vegas, in the Las Vegas Desert Classic.
Yeah.
And Steve Davis, we had a dinner, done the draw. Everybody's saying, "Oh, don't want to draw Phil." I said, "I want to play Phil. I want to draw him." They said, "What do you want to play?" Draw comes out, Mark Dudbridge, Phil Taylor. So I got my wish, and I beat him in Las Vegas on TV. So it was only a short, I think, first to 8, or first to 7, whatever it was. But I just remember the last leg. We were all equal. Come to the last leg. I can't remember if he won the throw, but he had the ball and he went to punch my hand, and I didn't punch his hand. And his first throw was 180. I thought, well, I've been in upset him now. Anyway, managed to come down, and I had a shot at something like 76. I think I went 20-20. My arm come up for the double 18, and it's the first time I was nervous. I felt my arm go like that, and I snatched it, and it went right in the middle to win. So that was a bit of a lucky one, but.
Well, still being Phil on telly is...
Oh, well, not many have.
No, exactly. So, that's something to shout about.
Well, especially at that time, he was winning.
Yeah.
Nobody was beating him. No. And so that was a good experience.
And Phil, of that time, being the kind of relentless star that he was, now considering the current crop and the standard at the moment, do you think Phil would still dominate as he did then? Yeah,
100%. He was throwing 108, 110 averages then, and he and people say the same about Eric Bristow. He wouldn't have played in our era, because the standard was that much better, he would have improved.
Yeah.
They're just greats.
Yeah.
And as far as I'm concerned, that's the end of it.
Yeah, I think the work ethic that, you know, you need to read stories about Phil, about his, I don't know, some of the practice routines and the sessions were exaggerated a little bit, but 8 hours a day practicing, and as you said,
he was just a different animal. I mean, like I was talking when I beat him in Las Vegas, so he's at the tournament, he's there with his family, it's 100 degrees outside, staying in a beautiful hotel with a swimming pool. We're down in the basement practicing for the, because I was playing the next day, so I've gone down for a bit of practice. Who turns up? Phil Taylor. Well done yesterday, Mark. Done well. Do you fancy a practice? I went, what, with me? He said, yeah. He said, there's a board out the back. He said, we're going to... He absolutely ripped the living shite out of me. It was just something he had to do, I guess.
Yeah. I think.
What I should have said in hindsight is say, nah, Phil, you crack on back to the pool. I'm in the next round. But that was a moment which just tells you what he's all about.
Yeah, you could tell that he knew how to play the game in lots of ways. You know, he was
just unbelievable. And I speak to Adrian Lewis and Andy Hamilton who practiced with him. Said he was just relentless.
Yeah,
just relentless.
And then, of course, this run of form led to your invite to the inaugural Premier League of Darts in 2005. I believe with the wild card, alongside Phil Taylor, Colin Lloyd, Peter Manley, John Part, Ronan Shelton and Wayne Mardle. I think you narrowly missed out on the final night to get through to the playoffs.
Yeah, it was a bit of a but if you've got an excuse.
Here's a story about Red Bull.
Yeah, well, Dick Alex, the late Dick Alex now, who was obviously Eric Brissow's ex-manager and integral in starting the PDC with Tommy Cox all those years ago. So we were in the practice room. I think I had to play 2 games, but I was getting married. Not the next. Was it? I was getting married on the weekend.
Yeah.
And we already booked our honeymoon. We had to cancel the honeymoon just in case I qualified through. And so I had 2 games to play. I think Peter Manley and maybe Colin. I had to win one or draw one or do something quite simple to end up in the top 4.
Yeah.
So we're in the back room, in the practice room, and Dick Alex said, "Oh, have you ever heard of this energy drink, Red Bull?" I said, "No." He said, "Well, obviously gives you energy." So I had a guy from the bar running down to the vending machine, and I must have had about 10 of them. I didn't know what it was. Oh my God! I got up on the stage, and it's my first start. My hand was going. I was like, "What have I done now?" You know, he tried to help me. You know, it wasn't sinister, anything sinister.
One or two.
But
right?
you know, me being me, I took it to the next level and had about 10 of them. Yeah, that wasn't a good move. So unfortunately, I say because of that, wasn't because of that. I'm playing against great players, but I ended up 5th. I think, didn't make the last 4, which is, you know, a bit disappointing really, because I was playing well at the time.
Yeah, I think looking back at that Premier League and considering now the juggernaut that the Premier League's become, you must be quite proud to have been part of the initial lineup.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we none of us knew where it was going or what it was going to be. You know, we were playing in the Doncaster Dome and, you know, smaller venues. And
so a lot more intimate venues compared to Warriors.
But you had the feeling that it had something.
Yeah.
You know, it was exciting. It was, it was brilliant. Obviously, the Sky production was great. They had a big map on the stage of where we were going, and it was just a wonderful experience. And unfortunately, I only played in one, but I played in the first one. So it's nice to be part of the whole juggernaut.
Of course. And then, if we look at the next maybe stage of your career and what became maybe a bit of a leaner spell, you know, you still have some decent runs, still playing in most of the majors. I think if we look at 2007 in particular, on that leg against Andy Jenkins, we have to mention that. So I think it took you 10 darts, wasn't it, to get off?
something like that. Yeah, it was the best. It was the best 12-22 dart I've ever had. Yeah, but you know, it wasn't the winning. I started having these shoulder problems. I wasn't throwing very well, so I was changing this equipment. I was trying everything, playing with these little flights, and I was actually practicing really well.
Yeah.
And it wasn't translating onto the stage, and but that last leg, obviously after I got away, they flew in there.
Yeah.
And I knew I was going to hit them.
As
And
you said,
that's
12
why I
12
got
darts from
really,
there, wasn't it? I
really
was gonna
excited.
say
You know, it was
the,
nothing against Andy or whoever I was playing. It was just like, wow, you know, they've clicked. And,
celebrations were memorable.
Yeah. I remember the interview, and I said to Dave Clark, I said, "Oh, because I jumped over in the air, I said I need to lose the belly." And all these years on, I've still got it.
But you said that period, and more latterly as well, and more recently, obviously some of the injury struggles. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I've had shoulder problems. I mean, I couldn't follow through. My arm was stopping. It was going to the left. I had cubital tunnel in my elbow, so I had 2 operations at the same time, one on my shoulder, one on my elbow. I was just trying to get through it. I was having acupuncture, massage, you name it. I tried everything. And for years and years and years and years and years, it wouldn't leave me. And I couldn't play to the level, anywhere near the level that I could. And I started getting beat, and I was getting beat, and I was going backwards in the rankings. I was still in TV events at this time, and it was just painful. I could have cried.
I say mentally, it must have been as
it
hard
was
as anything.
it was very, very, very challenging time for me. And and I got to the point where I was literally like, I've got to pack in because I can't compete.
Yeah.
I just couldn't. I couldn't practice for 5 minutes. My arm was just aching. Everything was hurting, and I tried everything: training, weights, this, that, and the other. Just couldn't. I couldn't get rid of it.
I think it's testament to your character that you still, as you said, were able to qualify. You were still playing in a lot of TV tournaments, and then
I think a lot of that was due to the ranking where I was in the ranking. You know, I was still sort of getting in these TV events, but I was in no shape to do anything, or I was getting beat first round. Yeah, it's demoralising.
But you've still qualified for. There was quite a lot of UK Opens and stuff as well.
So
Still
I've had a few little moments here and there.
When the body allowed.
Yeah.
And then more recently, 2018, you managed to get your tour card back as a result of a successful Challenge Tour campaign.
Yeah.
That must have been so long after kind of that run, 2004, 2005, even 2002. That must have been a proud moment. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I've done okay on a Challenge Tour, I think. Won a few and it went right down to the wire. I think somebody had to get beat for me to get it in the end, and I got it. But it's what people don't understand. It's okay getting your tour card through Q School, through the Challenge Tour. Yeah. You step into that Pro Tour and it's a different animal, and I still wasn't fit enough to play. And I had 2 years of hell on it, really. I was just, again, not good enough, not playing well enough. My body wouldn't let me play, my shoulder was bad. And obviously with the tension and everything, you just get beat up, and it's very, very demoralising.
It's relentless as well, isn't it?
It is relentless. It is relentless, and I mean, you do it because you're in it. But I probably should have dipped out after the first year, but I just kept going and kept grinding myself into the ground, basically.
Some of the stuff you've achieved in the game is what most people would dream of, really, isn't it? And it's what you dreamt of, I guess. Growing up, as you said, wanting to play at the tavern and that sort of thing. And
you just you set yourself goals, and it's great.
So Mark, that brings us up to speed. So if we look now towards the future, what does the future look like for Mark Dudbridge on and off the hockey?
Off the hockey, the building business started with Jody in January, so that's going well. He's massive. My partner's massive behind me, so days off isn't a problem, and he's encouraging me. And I wouldn't even be playing without Lawrence Dowding, mate from Southampton, who manages me, and John Chamberlain from Marshall Toughlex, who sponsors me. They're all massively behind me, and without those guys, I wouldn't even be playing. So the new seniors tour is getting some legs, and I think it's going to get better and better.
It's a very competitive field, isn't it?
I rocked up to the first one in Blackpool and just thought, well, they're all old. I'm the youngest there, and I got beat first round. So
it's a lot of big names.
Yeah, I mean, I believe Steve Beaton might be coming over next year, so that's going to be a big thing for us. But there's all players coming out of the woodwork, and it gives us a platform and somewhere to play, which is great.
And I think looking at some of your performances on the World Seniors, it looks like it's only a matter of time before you pick up one of the big tournaments, really, with some of the numbers you're posting, obviously hitting the 9, that big 109 average. It must be only a matter of time.
Well, it's we've all got to qualify for the TV events now, which is going to be better. You're going to see some new players coming through, and hopefully I'm one of them. And get me up on that stage. And I haven't performed greatly on the TV yet, but my game in the background's pretty good. So I would say it's a matter of time.
And then obviously also we've seen you at the Super Series. Is there plans to be back on the Super Series soon?
Yeah, I'm back in a couple of weeks on a Thursday. So looking forward to that. That's always a good field. I mean, you've got the young ones there and a few old ones. I mean, we've had a great time down there with Tony O'Shea. We had a really good group of the old ones with Mason, Tony O'Shea, to name two of them.
Yeah,
that was brilliant. Quite difficult sometimes. You go in the back room, you don't know any of these youngsters, and they're all out to beat you, which is makes it really hard. But I'm still competitive. I'm still want to win.
And that's the thing is we spoke to Tony about this. The environment and the tournaments and the opportunities that are out there for, say, amateur dart players these days who maybe don't play on the PDC circuit. It's probably as good a time as any not to have a tour card.
It's a great time, and there's a bit of money to be earned around. Obviously the ADC as well, which I don't take part in, but probably should look at doing some of those. And there's plenty of darts away from the PDC, the professionals and the bandwagon. Still a great standard. Still,
very
still competitive, and
big numbers.
It gives us all somewhere to go and play.
That's brilliant. And then also we touched on off air, but the Butlins Cup that you're involved in.
Yeah.
Obviously with yourself, Andy Hamilton, Adrian Lewis, and Wayne Mardle. I believe you picked up the first tournament.
Yeah. I managed to win the first one. Yeah, it's an exhibition-y based thing, but there's money on it as well, so it's competitive. And Wayne didn't realise it was there was extra money on it, and I mentioned to him in the back room, and he started practicing. I thought, I shouldn't have said that. But, it's really good. The crowds down in Minehead were great. It was a 70s weekend, so not necessarily darts fan, but it was packed in there. We've got another 4 to do, I think, which culminates in Minehead before the I think there's the Players' Championship.
Okay.
Yeah, so that'll be a big one. That'll be the finals night, and that'll be great.
And what's Adrian playing like at the moment?
Oh, he's just unbelievable, isn't he, Adrian? Just a natural talent. I think he beat Andy Hamilton the round before me. Had 2 11 darters, so he's going to be there or thereabouts. There's only 4 of us, so. But it was nice to get one over on him the other day, But I think we'll be sharing out the wins because it's only a short format, and we'll see how it goes. Very enjoyable.
Do you think we'll see Adrian back on a tour anytime soon?
I hope so. It's such a waste. Whatever he's going. He mentioned a few things, sort of stuff they're going through as a family, and he just we want Adrian back because he is
box office, isn't
box office, absolutely unbelievable player.
Absolutely. As you said, some of those classic dart matches against Phil, against Mike.
No, just
unbelievable.
Just absolutely massive talent, Adrian, and he's not even playing. I don't think he's practicing. Fires in 2 11 darters against Andy Hamilton, who's playing really well.
Yeah.
Just shows his class.
Yeah, and he's done well on the seniors of recent times as well, isn't he? Do you see yourself back at Q School, or is that probably on the back burner?
Well, I went to Q School this year, which probably shouldn't have really. Probably not. I'll see what happens at the end of the year. See how I'm playing, and it's just such a big commitment now. And you've got to be honest with yourself. It's like I said before, it's okay getting through Q School. That's a possibility.
Yeah.
Doing it on a pro tour.
Just the beginning, really, isn't it?
Do I want to be hanging myself out in Wigan and Barnsley and getting tumped first round every time? Probably not.
But it's also a very competitive. It's almost a tournament. I know it is a tournament, but it could be a televised tournament in itself. Q School, couldn't it? You look at the numbers and the names, and it's.
It's tough to get through Q School, but you've got to be good enough. You're trying to get the golden ticket to the Pro Tour and to the PDC, and I'll be honest with myself at the end of the year. If I'm not posting regular 100 averages, then forget it.
so you're playing quite a lot with various different tournaments and different competitions. How's the injury at the minute? How are you managing that?
Yeah, the injury is still there. Not nowhere near. It's really bizarre because I kind of never threw a dart for 2 years, and that I think it allowed it to just all settle down. And so yeah, my arm now is going nice and straight, and there's nothing I've really got to complain about. I've still got different issues in my shoulder, but it's not affecting my throw like it was. So yeah, not a problem.
That's great news. Hopefully we can see more of these numbers and these things that you're doing then, which would be good for everyone to see. Then off the hockey, you said you got the business. I assume you still get down to watch Bristol City when you can.
Yeah, absolutely. As much as I can get down to watch Bristol City. When I go now with my youngest daughter, Kira, she's absolutely mad for it. So yeah, we have good days out, and hopefully next season be able to take her away to some away matches.
Yeah,
that's where the real fun starts. Away games. But yeah, just a mad Bristol City fan. Always have, always will be.
Brilliant. So thanks, Mark. That's been an absolute pleasure to sit down with yourself. Someone who undoubtedly is a legend of the game.
Oh, legend! I think that's a bit strong.
Modest also. And then obviously, Mark, you've kindly given us a shirt that we'll use as a giveaway. So obviously keep your eyes across the socials, and we'll have further information about that.